successful. But there's the critical missing link that I'm going to talk about later has a massive impact on this, because we're all humans by nature are lazy. We want to try and cut corners. We don't want to do the things that we really know that work. We just want to take shortcuts. So to be consistently consistent and persistent takes a bit of effort. And then we're going to talk about the missing link that's going to help you do that. Is that all clear, everybody? Can I have some hands up? I don't know where my little thing is, but I'm sure Selwyn can monitor that. You can hear me, Selwyn? You can interpret when you were there. All good, Selwyn?
We can still hear you. We can still hear
Perfect, you. Right. So, question I have for you in relation to the inner game is, are you operating in a way that you are creating the life you desire? And are your thoughts, emotions, and feelings aligned with your life purpose? So it's a rhetorical question. So ask yourself this: if you've ever asked this question to yourself, are you truly aligned with what you're doing every single day? And are your thoughts, emotions, and feelings aligned with your life's purpose? Now, there's a couple of things there. You might not know what your life purpose is. There's some work to be done. What do you want to create? What legacy do you want to produce for your business? Now, you might say, I just want to create a business so I can have a great life. That's fine. But whatever you're looking to do, sell a widget or create a service to offer, it's got to offer some value. So is that aligned with what you want to create? And if you can align that with your thoughts and feelings, all of a sudden, the work of an entrepreneur becomes enjoyable. It doesn't feel like work, and it's aligned with everything you do. And that allows you not to, what would I say? Alleviate some stress in the workplace. So my work is my life's work, and it's the desire. Oh, we've got someone on the video. Hello there, Ruth. She can see us. She's gone through the firewall. That's great. So let me ask you this question: the inner game, the context of your life, is 9 times out of 10 is when we set goals and when we set intentions of our lives and when we set our business, we list all the results we want in our life. It's all the haves. These are the results we want. We want turnover £1 million. We want great staff. We want great product. We want reputation. And we list all the things that we want in our lives. And then we identify what we need to do. What do we need to do to get to achieve the list that we've created? And if you think about life, that's how life is. When we grow up in school, teachers are saying, what do you want in life? Oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a businessman. I want to be an entrepreneur. Right, you need to do this. You need to go to medical school. You need to create a product and sell it to people. You need to study hard. So you list all the things you do. But how many times are we, and we do all those things in order for us to be happy, be rich, be successful. So we look at the results we want, we take the actions, and the context of our life is determined by the actions we take and the results we want to achieve. But we don't always achieve the results we want. So we never, ever achieve who we want to be because we don't get the results. It's like, I want to be a successful entrepreneur. Well, the evidence for that is money in the bank, lots of happy clients, lots of good profile and credibility. But when that credibility, the money, the responses from your clients is not there, you never get to be who you want to be. You never have a great business. And we live our life in this direction. From we list what we want, we decide what we need to do so we can be what we want to be. And we live that way. The problem is, though, if we don't get what we want, or it doesn't look like what we want it to look like, we never get to the B. And that's where the constant challenge for entrepreneurs is we're never happy. We're never content. We're never at a point whereby, do you know what, if I'm more happy, if I'm more at peace with myself, am I going to be more successful? Absolutely. So let me put this to the work that I do with entrepreneurs is I say, instead of living this way, we live this way. We start from who we want to be. So we don't focus on what we want. We focus on what kind of person do you want to be when you wake up in the day. I want to be someone who achieves great things. I want to be someone who's got a great reputation in this area of the market. I want to be someone who creates a great product that solves this solution for people. And you decide who you want to be. And then from that context, what does that person do? What does that person do because they're being that person? And what you find then is the results take care of themselves. I'll give you an example of an Olympic athlete who's training for the Olympics, and they haven't won gold yet. They're training, got 4 years to train for gold, but they act today as if they're a gold medal athlete. So what does a gold medal athlete act like? They wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They eat the right foods. They do the right training. They don't miss training. They don't go out. They're disciplined in their. So when they're on the start line at the Olympics, they're standing there, you know, I am a gold medalist. I just need now the the medal is just a confirmation. And in life, too many people, not just entrepreneurs, too many people live from the context of what they want, what results they want. And they're dictated by the results they want in their life, not who they want to be. So the inner game is not necessarily about, yes, it is all about emotions and getting your thoughts and everything aligned. But the premise that I work with when I'm working with companies, individuals, is who do you want to be? And from that, when you want to be that person, what kind of actions does that person take? And when you start to understand that context in business, it's just a massive shift. And that's conquering the inner game. The next part of the inner game, I can't see my screen, is understanding the impact you make in the world. And I've worked with Selwyn on this. And what you see on your screen here is what we call the Entrepreneur Impact Cycle profile, which is powered by the GC Index. The GC Index is used by corporates in the UK to identify what kind of game-changing activity you naturally are good at. And as you see here, you've got 5 profiles there. And I'll explain the 5 profiles in the context of how you can make an impact on the world. So you see the top half there, you've got the game changer and you've got the strategist. These people are ideas focused. So just instinctively think of the kind of person you are. Are you really ideas focused? You'll see on the bottom there, you've got the implementer and the polisher are very task focused. So instinctively, where do you think you're at? And there's an opportunity that you can, when we're at the summit, you can take the profile and understand where you're at. So you can see here that this on the right-hand side, the game changer and the polisher on this side, these are very obsession. You know, the game changer is someone who looks at a big picture. They can see big things, their big vision, and they're very obsessive in their nature. And so is the polisher obsessive. The top half, you see the strategist and the game changer have great imaginations. They can think big picture. They can imagine a world where they can make game-changing impact and make a difference. But also, they can see a path to it. They're very big picture thinking and see a path to how to make things work. So can you relate to that? Then you've got the bottom half. The implementer are the doers that get things done, and the polisher make them look really good. They're the action people. They're the people on the front line and get things doing. And then you've got the left-hand side, which are quite pragmatic. So the strategists in the implementer are very pragmatic individuals. They're practical. And once you start to identify which one you are on the cycle, you will start to recognize this is what I'm really good at. So for example, for me, I'm a game changer strategist. Now I'm a strategist first, a game changer. I'm not very good at getting things done. I've got a team around me that help me do that. But I'm very good at looking at the big picture. And the strategist is very good at seeing I was able to identify that was me. It gave me permission to let go of having to implement stuff and getting things right. And I got other people doing those things to do those things. And as entrepreneurs, there's of trying to do all these things at once. And that's one of the single biggest reasons why companies fail early on, because you get burnout. And you get burnout and but you're doing things that are not naturally good for you. Now, you might say, yeah, well, we're at the start of a journey. We haven't got the resources. We haven't got the time to pay for staff. Absolutely, I agree with that. I haven't either. I didn't have either. But what you do have is you have a vision, you have a passion. And once you start to identify where you're at, it's very easy when you communicate your passion and your vision that other people might be, do you know what? I want to be part of that. I want to create that. Because not everybody wants to start a business, but a lot of people want to be entrepreneurial. So you'll find other people not necessarily want to be the boss, but wants to have that freedom of entrepreneurship. But by communicating your passion and understanding where you're at, you can start to identify where other people are at. So we've got a profiling tool. So you see the game changer here. They find ways of doing new things. That's what the game changer is very good at. The strategist is very good at how we're going to do it. You know, what we're going to do and how we're going to do this, actually. So they question the game changer. All right, you can find ways of doing new things. But the strategist is the person that finds is questions about how we're going to do this. The implementer just gets the stuff done. So they will talk to the strategist and say, right, give me the plan. I'm not going to worry about new ideas. I'm just going to get it done. It's like the architect. The architect designs the house. But then you've got the builders who just build it, put the bricks in, put the cement in, they build the thing. They're not the person that's going to build the house, are going to design the house. And then you've got the polisher that makes it look good. So the implementer gets it done, and the polisher is the perfection that makes it look good. And the one in the middle, the playmaker, they're like orchestrate the whole thing. They bring and empower people. So they're like the vice president, the sub leader, COO of the company. They bring things together. And this tool we've been using in the UK with corporates really successfully, Orange, Network Rail, Dyson, some really big companies. And what you find is the communication between people is much more clearer. You start to understand other people's worlds. You don't start to, you feel like, why are they being obstructed? Because they look at a world in a different way. Because if you've got a board meeting and you've got 7 people in the board meeting and 4 of those are implementers, they want to get stuff done. But one of them, who's the game changer, comes up with the great ideas. The implementer wants to get it done. But if you've got a board full of just game changers, nothing's going to get done. Great ideas, great vision, but then that's it. Nothing actually gets done. So what you find is when you start to work with your natural proclivity and your natural strengths, you start getting great communication and you get things done really quickly. So this tool is, this profiling tool is available to anybody who wants to take it. And when we come to before the summit, actually, there's an opportunity. Selwyn's got the opportunity. If you want to know more about it, you have the opportunity to take this profile. So contact Selwyn afterwards and we can get some details to you. So that's the inner game, pillar number 1. Everything good so far? Any observations, questions? Selwyn, all good? Are we there? Can you hear me? I hope you're there. Selwyn, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me. Is that Mark? Good. Great. So we've got pillar number 1. We're going to move on to the next pillar now. And we're going to take questions at the end. So make notes. Any questions you got, we'll answer at the end. So next pillar is the strategy, is the game plan. The question for me is this, is what really prevents you from creating a strategy, from creating a roadmap to execute a strategy? What really prevents it? And usually it's the steps. It's the part. What comes first? What comes second? So these are the first 3 steps. What do you know and what are you best at? What do you know? What do I know and what are you best at? So I'm going to take it in first person term. Is it a product or is it a service you're gonna create for a business? And what are you really good at? So the profiling tool allows you to identify that. Who do you know and will they help? One of the biggest single things in business, and when you start a business, the best asset that I created when I started my business is my network. So the first thing I did for 2 years before I started my business, I went networking. I went to seminars, I went to workshops, I went to events, and I got my name out there. And I connected and built relationships with people who I knew, who I wanted to help, first of all, but I knew that would be great assets for me. Because without people, nothing can happen. The second thing is, when you look at a business, is where is their unmet need? So when I started creating On Spirit Global, there's a lot of people out there, like 15 years ago, before the internet and social media, there was a lot of people who were frustrated. They weren't having a life they want. They were either in jobs they didn't want to do. But the problem was they didn't know what to do. It was a closed market. Now with the internet and social media and the vast amount of information and the transparency of what you can get, people are not only frustrated now, they're awake of the possibility, but they don't know where to go. So my vision for On Spirit is to create a platform where they know where they want to go. So the unmet need that I'm meeting, is at the moment, there's loads of platforms in the States, Forbes, Inc., Fast Company, Mind Valley, but there's nothing like that from the UK perspective. So I have identified there's a need for 96% of all businesses in the UK are micro businesses and less than 10 employees. And their needs are not being met from a point of view of a holistic point of platform. And that's what I want to create with On Spirit. And that's the need. The second three parts of a strategy is this, is will the customers buy it? Well, the evidence is in terms of online learning and information, predictions are that online learning is going to go through the roof. Billions of dollars people are spending on online learning. Now, people like this, it's amazing that I can communicate you're across the Atlantic and I can communicate this information to you. And through a couple of Skype calls and Zoom calls and a couple of Facebook messages, me and Selwyn now are collaborating. That would be virtually unheard of 10 years ago at the speed at which we're doing it. Number four, where is the, sorry, I've gone upside down here, is where is the customer opportunity? So the customer opportunity I saw was the US has been served well, but not the UK. Can we create a solution? In my vision, yes, I can create a platform. Will the customers buy it? Well, the market is open there in terms of the number of people who are excited and desperate to learn more because they want to create their life. They want to take control back of their lives. And the last three stages of a strategy is number 7. Where do our target customers go and where is the best to reach them? So how are you going to reach the customers? So for me, for On Spirit, online, social media, that's where I'm going to reach them. So for you, strategy, part of a strategy is where you're going to target your customers, low-hanging fruit. Who can you partner with that I've got the customers that you want that you can take a shortcut? And how do you best reach them? What type of customers get most from our products? There's a theory that whatever you create, everybody will benefit from it. Not necessarily. There's low-hanging fruit. Usually, 3% of the population, without being sold to, will want your product. 7% need it, or will think about it. 30% will need convincing, and the remainder are not even consciously aware they need your product or service. So where are you going to get your customers from? Number 9, how best can you serve them? What insights can you add value? There's a great report. I haven't mentioned it in this webinar. You may have come across it, but make a note of this. There's a great report written by Google called ZMOT. ZMOT stands for Zero Moment of Truth. And this Google, which was written about 8 years ago, talks about how customers make decisions online to purchase. And, 15, 20 years ago, if you had to buy a new TV, you'd go into the store, you'd research in the store, you take some leaflets home, and maybe you go back in the store and buy a TV. And then the first experience of the TV is at home. Whereas nowadays, if your TV broke, you go online, you can see reviews, you can see how the TV works. So you can experience the TV before you purchase it. That's called the zero moment of truth, that you don't have to experience something before until you buy it. You can experience it before. So have a look at that report if you're not familiar with it, because I do a lot. I research that report a lot. So when I look at my markets, is where are they already looking online, so I can intercept them and speak to them before they purchase my products. So when they do come to purchase my products, they feel they know me, they get me, they understand me altogether before they even purchase me. So there's a confidence there. So it's getting in front of your customers and getting them to buy into you before you even present a product to them. And that's the key to one of the keys to growing as an entrepreneur. Gary Vee, you probably heard of Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vee talks about it all the time, getting in there, using social media to build an audience, to build credibility, to build their trust before they purchase. So that's pillar number 2, the game plan. We're all still here. What's the time? Have we got time? Yep. We're bang on schedule now. So pillar number 3 is the outer game. So your ability to be consistent and persistent in your daily actions. So my question to you is this: what really prevents you from taking daily consistent actions? So the number one answer for this is you're human. We're inherently lazy. We don't want to eat the frog in the morning. We've got loads of distractions: internet, Facebook, TV, social media, family, kids, parents, siblings, whatever it is, that avoids us to take consistent actions. So one of the daily strategies that I've come up with, that I work with my entrepreneurs, is the power of micro goals. And there's 3 conditions of a micro goal. A micro goal is set and completed within 1 day. It's completely within your control. And each micro goal is part of a bigger objective. So let me give you an example. You know how you've probably heard this saying that aim for the stars, and if you aim for the stars, if you miss, at least you'll hit the moon, which is great. The strategy of a micro goal is this: is aim for the moon and you hit the moon. End of. You aim for the moon and you hit the moon. And the idea of a micro goal is such a small action. It's such a so I'll give you an example. A goal for the month might be I want to get 10 clients. A micro goal for today would be I'm just listing 30 people that I want to contact. But that's it. It's fully in your control. It's very achievable, and it's part of a bigger objective. Day 2 could be, of those 30 people, I'm going to ring 5. You're not going to talk to 5. You're just going to ring 5. So you get this into action. Fully controllable. You can do it within one day, and it's part of a big objective. Then you might say, once I have 5 conversations, I'm going to say this, X, Y, Z, or I'm going to ask this question. Fully within your control. So micro goals are set every single day in the morning, and you cannot set a micro goal the next day until you've achieved the goal for the previous day. And I've been working with 17 entrepreneurs. We've got a micro goals group on the Facebook, and every day each entrepreneur puts their micro goals down. It's part of a bigger objective, and what I find is the achievements level goes through the roof. The success is through the roof, because what you find is you don't get overwhelmed. Number one, you don't get this big, oh my God, I've got the old saying is, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So I found that when you aim for the stars and you miss the stars and you hit the moon, which is great, it's fine, but there's a little bit of like, Whereas let's set goals that are directly related to what you want to achieve in terms of bigger picture, but are so easily achievable that you get the success itself is fairly easy, but also the feeling you get as a result of achieving that goal is so great that gives you the confidence to set even bigger goals. And we found that when we use this strategy, the goal that they set themselves for that month was achieved within a couple of weeks. It didn't take them a month. So they overestimated how long it would take them to achieve that goal. And what they found was when they broke it down into these micro steps and micro goals that are fully within their control, they started achieving these goals well within their perceived initial timeline, which was massive for them. And this is one of the strategies that we used around the micro goals. So they're the 3 pillars. You got the inner game. So they're the 3 pillars. You got the inner game. It stops you overthinking and it focuses on your strength. So when you come from a sense of who do you want to be, you don't have to overthink things now, because there's only one of you. No one else exists in the world except you. You don't have to copy anyone. You don't have to try and be someone else. You can stop comparing yourself, and your goals are your goals. So when you start, this is who I want to be, me being this person, what action do I take? Not, this is what I want to achieve, what action do I have to take? So let's say you're in a sales mode, you've got to sell something. Right, I'm going to be someone who's going to communicate how this product or service will change someone's life. That's it. The sale will be the sale. Now, if I said, I'm going to get free sales today, that's not who I want to be. So the inner game is that it stops you overthinking. It puts you completely at service. The second part of the inner game, it focuses on what you're good at. If you're a fish, you swim. You can't climb a tree. Stop climbing a tree. So the inner game, yes, is about the thoughts, it's feelings, but it's more about those 2 things. The game plan. When you have a strategy, it ensures you have a plan that you can execute on. Because the worst thing as entrepreneurs is very lonely. We haven't got big teams around us. That's why networks, places like 10 Habitat where you can hang out and get mentoring are fantastic, fantastic places. And it helps you execute. Also, by having a game plan, it helps you pivot and adjust along the way, because things change. Like if you're driving a car and you're going to a destination and you're going to take the motorway, but then there's an accident or a roadblock, you have to pivot and you have to take an A road, or you take a country road. But you still know where you're heading. So by having your overall game plan, your overall strategy planned out, you know where you need to make the adjustments, as opposed to it's a blank sheet and you think, where am I going? And finally, the outer game. By setting those micro goals, it keeps you consistent and it prevents you from getting overwhelmed. And each day is a goal in its own right. And once you start making those micro little movements and micro little intentions, it's amazing that you do that on a Monday. I guarantee you discipline yourself to set micro goals on a Monday. By Wednesday evening, you would have achieved more in those 3 days than you would in previous weeks. And the confidence and the feeling you have will go through the roof. And that will just sort of keep you going for the rest of the week. And actually, it will show you don't have to work like a dog 5 days a week. So the critical missing link. What is the critical missing link between all these things? And what I found, the critical missing link is mentoring and accountability. Is when you've got someone that helps you, keeps you on track, and holds you accountable, success goes through the roof. And that's the great thing about what On Spirit does, and also what 10 Habits. If you think about it, is if you've got a mentor that's looking out for you and holding you accountable, and you've got these three things in place, you cannot fail. You know who you are. You know your strengths. You've got a strategy, so you know the roadmap. You're taking small actions every day, and then you've got someone holding you account, but also mentoring you along the way. So it keeps like a little rudder adjusting you. You cannot fail. And I can count the number of times, if I had a penny for every time that someone hadn't got the success they want, and it comes down to one of these 3 things they're not doing. Oh, where's my screen gone? Oh, hang on. Oh, it's all gone pear-shaped here. That they haven't got, they're not coming from a sense of who they want to be. They haven't got a game plan, and they're not taking action. And more importantly, they haven't got accountability or any mentoring. And there you go. What's the time? Great. We're 45 minutes. I think we're right on schedule. Selwyn, I think we're right on schedule. I think we're good now. So I'm going to be talking about this in much more detail, about how you can practical tips about the game changing pillars at the Startup Summit in April in the Caribbean. So there's a link there. So if you're interested there, I think Selwyn will got more details on it, that you can purchase tickets, and there's an opportunity to get your profile done. If you want to get the profile done before the seminar, then just contact Selwyn and we can sort you out. But any questions? Selwyn, are you there, my friend?
Thank you very much, Baiju. I think what we will do now is give persons on the webinar the opportunity to ask whatever questions they might have based on what you've covered or anything adjacent to that. Remember, just click on the chat and just type your questions in, and I will read it out to everyone. But you should be able to see if anyone's got any questions.
Mm.
So I'll start with one question.
Yep.
In terms of the aspects of the profiles that you mentioned. What does that do for an entrepreneur who is, let's say, strong at one aspect? What impact does that have for him or her in terms of building out a team around them?
So the one thing to say, which I forgot to mention, is the profiling thing. I'll put it up on the screen here so people can see. It's a multi-dimensional tool. So you get a score for each one. But to answer your question, if someone's strong on one, what's the implication in terms of building the team? In order to have a game-changing team, it's having a balance with all those profiles. So if you come out as a game changer and you start employing people that have similar tendencies as other game changers, you will find that things aren't getting done because you haven't got an implementer in the things. You haven't got someone who's naturally going to get things done. And those people who are game changers, there's going to be a lot of resistance. There's not in their flow. So once you start to understand where you are most strong, I'm the perfect example, because 2 years ago when I came across this, I had a team around me, but I realized I had a team around me that had similar strengths to me, because like attracts like. And I did this profile and I realized that I needed a polisher and an implementer around me. And within a month of doing this profile, I put this out there, and now I've got a great implementer and a polisher around me. They get things done. And what you do, you start to complement each other. So you've got the same vision. It's like, you're in a car. Not everybody's going to be a driver. So you've got the car, you've got to navigate. Other people are doing different things. So in a business, you've got to have people that complement your skills. And as an entrepreneur, we have this belief that we need to be good at everything because we're the boss. Because how can I ask someone else to do something when I can't do it? If you think of Richard Branson, how he grows businesses, he comes up with an idea, he finds the best person that's better than him to run the business. And then he's like the motivator and brings people, he's like the playmaker. He brings people together. So the profiling, once you understand which one you're at, it gives you a fantastic framework to know what kind of team you want to implement. Let me put this to you, Selwyn. Say someone had a franchise opportunity. If I'm selling a franchise, do I want someone who's going to buy the franchise, who's an implementer, who is a game changer? Are you still there?
So yeah, I would think you would want an implementer.
Exactly, because I don't want someone who's going to come up with different ideas. It's been sorted. I just want someone who's going to take my folder and implement that same thing and cookie cutter that. It's like McDonald's. You buy a franchise, they don't want chefs. They just want people who are going to implement the actual strategy, because the strategy and the game changing idea of the actual business has already been done. So it gives you go on.
So for just remember, anyone wanted to ask any questions or need some follow up.
Just write it in the chat, guys. Don't wait to be asked. Just write it in the chat, your question, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So how does this work for the entrepreneur who's now getting started, doesn't have the resources to bring on, let's say they're the strategist or they're the implementer, for argument's sake, and so they need someone that's big picture that can build out the strategy and a game changer, and they need that polisher next to them. But they're a one-man operation, don't have the resources to bring on those persons. What's your advice to that entrepreneur who's faced with that situation?
You see, I fell into the trap of being a solo entrepreneur and trying to do it all myself. There's this perception that you've got to start to employ people and pay people. Is what I find is especially in today's world, people want to collaborate on stuff. People want to, and you'll find that as soon as you start talking about your business and what you want to create, it's amazing when you start networking in the same circles. You'll find that other people say, "Do you know what? I like that idea. This is my skill set. Why don't we start working together?" So there might be a bit of compromise in terms of the idea, but it's not about going out and looking for employees. It's looking for people that. So you might think, well, I don't want to share my business. Well, then you're looking at, that's a scarcity mindset. It's about encouraging an abundance mindset and saying, okay, if I'm an implementer, I need the game changer. This is my idea. Who else loves my idea? Right. Let's sit down and talk around the table. Because you don't know what can be created. I've got now a team of people around me, about 30 people around me. I don't employ any of them. And we share resources. Some we share contract stuff. Some they're part of my vision, but they can see the bigger picture what I want to create, and they want to be part of this. So you've got to enroll people in the possibility that what you want to create, and not keep your business close to your chest, because you're never going to grow. It's just you're going to be restricted to your ideas. And an implementer, by definition, probably can't see the wood for the trees. They can't see the big picture. So you might need someone to say, actually, have you looked at your business in this way? Because you're missing a trick. And it's like, actually, do you know what? Then you start forming partnerships, bring people on board, and they will create, 50% of 100 million is better than 100% of 1 million.
Very well said. I have a question here from Mark. He asks, is it possible to start a business and realize that your type is not what you figured? I think you're a game changer, but realize you're a polisher. What would be
absolutely.
the impact of that?
What the impact of that is your role is different. You might think this is my role in my business. You turn out to be a polisher. So my role's different. It doesn't mean that you can't be the boss, but the role in your business is different. So that gives you massive insight to think, actually, I thought I was a game changer because I was thinking this way. Actually, I'm a polisher. I'm really good at making things look good. Right. Let me find someone who can complement my skill. So it should be a relief, because you realize that you're not going to, my first 3 or 4 years in business, although it was very enjoyable, I always felt that, why is it harder than it should be? Because I was trying to implement stuff and I wasn't an implementer. And it wasn't until my 4th year that I started really understanding this. And in the last 2 years using this to really get team. And now I feel so much in flow every day because I'm strategizing and I'm in my game changer mode and I'm not worrying about the polishing mode. So Mark, to answer your question is, it should be a relief, and then realize your role now changes, it evolves. But when you do the profile, the profile doesn't say you're a strategist and that's it. You get a score for each area, and the relationship between the scores will determine where you are on that scale. So Mark, if you're interested, speak to Selwyn afterwards and we can get a profile worked out for you.
Okay, great. We've got one more question from Michael. He asks, is it possible that your role actually changes as the startup grows?
Yeah, in the short answer, Michael, the answer is yes, it evolves. So we have a tendency, depending on, so it doesn't mean that if you're a strategist now, you might turn into a polisher, but the evolution of the work that you do evolves. So the scores might change a little bit, but the core aspect of who you are as a strategist remains. But as your startup grows, you realize your game-changing tendencies when you're startup are slightly different than as a game changer if you've got 10, 15 employees and turn over a few £1 million or a few $1 million. So your role can change as your startup grows and your position in that organization changes. Because as you start growing the team, say you're an implementer and you're a boss, the kind of implementing thing you do at the start is very different to the implementation at the start might be quite processed. You as an implementer, as a boss, might be implementing teams. So the role of you're still implementing, but you're implementing in different things. So absolutely evolves. Is that clear enough, Michael?
Yeah. We have another question here from, yes, he says it's great.
Cool.
The next question comes from one. He asks, do you find it humanly possible for someone to have 4 out of 4 of the traits, or possibly an insight of either?
Yeah. So what you, as I mentioned earlier, you will get a score. Actually, and let me see if it's possible to show you an example of a report. I've got to be careful about not showing names here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Sylvia, let me just stop sharing my screen for a moment. I'm going to try and get a report up to give you an example of what a report looks like. Right, here we go. I'm going to show you this. All right, let me share my screen. Right, can you see my screen?
Yep, you can see it now, yeah.
Right, so can you see a report here?
Yeah.
Right, so you'll see here, this guy got a 10 game changer, 9 strategists, 1 playmaker, 4 polisher, and a 2 implementer. So you can see that this guy has got very big picture vision, right? He can see big ideas. He can see the world in a way that many, many others can't. But also the 9 strategist shows that he knows how to get there. He's got a roadmap to it. However, he's weak on getting things done. His attention to detail is very low as a polisher. The 4 playmaker means he's not great at getting teams together. However, he's not great at micromanaging. But what he's great at is I come up with great ideas. I can show you how to roadmap the ideas, but I'm not someone who's going to get it done. Does that make sense? So when Mark, what's the question? Is it humanly possible for someone to have 4? Well, this guy's got 2 high traits: the strategist and the game changer. Can you see that?
Yeah. So there's another question here from Mark as well. He's asking, what role are founders more likely to be? or is it normally a mix of roles?
So when you think about it, by definition, if you got someone who's quite not against the system, but who doesn't settle for an easy life, someone who's got an idea, by definition, founders are usually fall into the game changer strategist, because if you're an implementer, just a doer, get things done, rarely founders fall into that trap because they're not thinking big picture. Does that make sense? They're not thinking big enough in terms of an idea that could challenge the status quo, that could start a new business. Because to start a new business, to be an entrepreneur, if most of the people in this chat are either running their own business or want to run business, you're the exception to the rule. You think very differently. So to answer Mark's questions, founders usually fall into the strategist, game changer, and sometimes playmaker mode. Very few founders fall into the implementer, polisher mode. There are always exceptions, but majority strategist, game changer.
Okay, excellent. So I think we'll take that as the last question, and I want to say thank you to everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to take in this session. We've recorded it, and at some stage we're going to put it up for others to see, and you can reference it. Baiju is going to be one of the speakers at the upcoming Caribbean Startup Summit in April, the 26th and the 27th here in Barbados. And if you're interested in taking the profile, it will be available at the summit, but you can also take it before, and you can just send us an email.
If you just contact Selwyn about what you want, and then I'll be in touch with Selwyn, and we can sort whatever your needs are. Like Michael just mentioned there, he would love his team to go through this. Great. So if you just speak to Selwyn about the details around that, how many in your team, what's your business, and then I'll be in touch with Selwyn, and we can get that done before the summit. And then when I come for the summit, I can sit down with your team and your guys to help you. To go through the insights of the profile and how that can help you grow your business.
Great. So thank you again, everyone. Baiju, thank you, and we're looking forward to seeing you later in the.
And I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm a massive cricket fan, so I know you do, right? And I love. I've never been to the West Indies. I'm really looking forward to coming in April. So yeah, really excited.
Okay, great. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll be in touch.
Super. Take care, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right, bye.